So our research instrument is also categorized according to qualitative research tools, okay? Si qualitative research tool and si quantitative research tool. So according to the description of the qualitative research design, its qualitative research instrument will be the one to direct the gathering of data. So it must contain questions that is answerable by how or why. So for example, it must have questions that will measure the depthness of the experience of the population in order for us to get the picture, the wide perspective that we want to know about the research topic, because we are trying to get qualitative type of data. So we have also the quantitative type of research design. So from the word itself, quantitative research design, it must employ instrument that will give us numerical data, numerical answers. So the most commonly used quantitative research instrument is the survey questionnaire. Okay, so in the screen right now, these are the different research instruments. So we have first interviews. An interview is applicable for qualitative research design. So interview, or the interaction where verbal questions are posed by interviewer to elicit verbal response from interviewee. Okay, so we can have structured interview, unstructured interview, and non-directive interview. So our structured and unstructured interview actually is also called as direct interview. Okay, so structured interview is a formal set of questions posed to each interviewee and recorded using a standardized procedure. So from the word structured, you will have to prepare questions that you will ask to your respondents, and then it must be open-ended question. So it shall be recorded. You will write the transcript, or you will audio record it so that you will be able to transcribe it later on for data processing. The next one is the unstructured interview. So this is a less formal set of questions where the interviewer modifies the sequence and the wording of the questions. This allows more confidence. This allows more natural answer from the respondents. Another one is we have non-directive interview. So this is an unguided interview which also have open-ended questions and spontaneous engagement. Okay, so if we are going to give examples on this structured interview, we have an example for documentaries, for example, in National Geographic, or like in the political interviews. These are structured interviews where the interviewee and the interviewer already know the questions that will be asked, and of course the setting is formal. There will be less room for error, but there would be fixed answers to the structured interview. While for unstructured interview, this can be like in a talk show where it is less formal and the interviewee already have an idea what is the topic is all about. For example, if the topic today is about motherhood, or if the topic today is about overcoming mental disorders, so any questions about that topic can be asked in a less formal setting. Now, for non-directive interview, this can be done in many type of settings, such as in our indigenous people, or such as in the patient doctor or patient pharmacist interaction, where you just do spontaneous engagement to get the real experience of the interviewee or the respondent. Okay. Another type is the focus interview and the focus group interview. So focus interview, the emphasis on the interviewee's subjective and personal responses. Interviewer engages to elicit more information. So there is focus. In other words, you will have to identify the respondents that you will interview so that it will be according to that specific lens. Now, for focus group interview, this is a group of selected participants. So for example, if you are to conduct qualitative type of design, you will perform focus group discussion or focus group interview. You're going to ask 3 to 5 pharmacists or 3 to 5 doctors. They have the same background, but they may have different opinions or perceptions about a specific topic or a particular problem, but they have the same, for example, they have the same workplace, so they can be grouped together, and you want to know the differences in their opinions and their perceptions about the problem at hand. Okay, so this is interview process. So it can be, you can establish here different questions. You can use how, why, but you have to know also the limit that you will employ, until when or until how in-depth your interview will be. It depends on your topic. So for our limited condition right now, we have online distance learning. Face-to-face interview is allowed over our online platform. All right. So a face-to-face interview is a version of an in-depth interview. But for our case, again, this time you will do it via online platform. So you may use English or in dialect when you talk to your respondents. It depends, or it will not really matter, given that you will be able to express it correctly according to the question that you want to ask. And also, of course, it should be two-way. The interviewee must be able to, the respondents must be able to understand the questions that you're trying to ask. So our interview type of research instrument or data gathering, as you can see, it is time consuming, of course, but it allows you to probe explanation about the responses that they have given you. Okay, for quantitative, there's no explanation anymore because they just directly answer. For this qualitative research instrument, the interview, it will allow explanation for the response given. Also, it will give you opportunity to interpret body languages or the body movements or the facial expression. Okay, so the body movement, the body language, the facial expression will also express the honesty, the integrity of the responses by the respondents. So you would know if the patient or the respondent is very stiff, afraid, or he is confident in expressing his opinion. With that, you have to take note also the non-verbal appearance or the non-verbal expression during in-depth or face-to-face interview. And now the challenge is it is done online. So you have to see to it that the patient, the respondent, the half of the body can be seen so that you can observe appropriately. If it can be done that the patient or the respondent can be seen seated, whole body, that is very helpful to you as a researcher.